Hello everybody, this will probably be my last video today. I need y'all to understand two major things. When I need you all to understand that I made this video for two major reasons. The first reason is, as I began to delve in the whole idea or concept of I am who I am, and I broke away from certain concepts and began to walk in a path that I began to decide and choose. There's something I began to think about often, especially when I read murderous whole chapters where God didn't actually say anything, and the man is speaking what he believes God interpreted to him. You can get upset by what I just said, but that's my personal belief, and based on what I believe, all things are subjective until who I am makes it objective, I guess. I'm trying to be as logical as possible. And the only thing I keep thinking about when I think about I am is I keep crying over and over. Mainly because my mind likes to think a lot. And whenever I think from a bigger concept in terms of I created, when I start to read these things, I begin to start to feel like a father. And from a father's perspective, not only does Noah make sense when he cries, I understand. I said in a video a while back that I would never sacrifice my firstborn, but I have two kids. What would a man do if he could save a kid? I believe that some scriptures make so much sense at certain times, like it is wise for a man to keep quiet before speaking. I watched a movie years ago. It was actually of Jewish characters. I forget which movie, but the father, if you ever come across this movie he didn't say anything. The mother, she spoke a lot, but whenever they went to the scene with the father, they said he doesn't talk much. And he never said anything throughout the movie, I think. And I think the one time he spoke, he said, "I love you." And that shit at all. Because I hear a lot of people talking from their perspectives, but rarely do I hear people speaking from a perspective of love. There was a second reason. I haven't brought that up. The crying reason. It was so invigorating, and I just made a video called "Do Atheists Lack Accountability?" But I did the same thing the whole planet does, and I've been able to see this recently. Instead of saying, "That's who I am, accept accountability," I place it on a larger group. And then when I began battling this group, I feel justified with everything I did, so perhaps all my mistakes are irrelevant. And, yeah, I really wish I remember what that second point was. Perhaps it's so overshadowed by free will and the idea of just allowing to not cause harm was not important enough to help at different points in time. That may not make sense to the average person, but I need whoever is listening to understand that a lot of times we think we want something, and when we get that thing, we don't understand that what we wanted was a fantasy. And sometimes when fantasies come true, the bigger picture is much more distorted than what we believed it was. And so, it's a fucking fucked up world out there. But what I meant to say, perhaps this is the second point, is Atheists are correct. God and Jesus are not real. But Christians are correct. Not only are God and Jesus real, Jesus and God are separate. The Holy Spirit exists, and technically the Trinity exists. If I wasn't warring, listen, if I wasn't warring with the faction, and I listened to what the faction actually had to say, and it was a book report, and I had to get a grade on it, or a reward based on what I was looking at, I guarantee you I'd understand what those people were talking about. But because of what we experience, it's hard for us to see where other people are coming from. Do you know what my biggest problem with white supremacists are? They don't know any black people. They've never met any. And perhaps they had a couple of interactions, and because of what they were taught, were in the mindset that fuck these niggas. Perhaps some African Americans thought the same thing. Do you know why it's silly to get upset at the idea of being called an African American? Because you've been programmed by supremacists. I'm going to show you something real quick. Look at this shirt. This shirt has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, many parts to this shirt. I will say in vector 3, it looks big, but it's not the biggest. But of all these lower, it's the biggest. That has nothing. So I was saying vector 3 is where humanity created. Boom, the shirt breaks apart, and instead of all being connected, they're in different locations. Vector 3 is connected to 4 and 5, which is also connected to these. But throughout the rest of the shirt, they take a long route and get back to 1 and 2. Does that make sense? You're all African American. You're all African European. Because in the midst of wherever anything was happening, we called that Africa. You want to come up with another name for it? Whatever. Y'all come up with we all come up with names. But what I'm telling you is you all have played a game of lottery dice, and y'all have been rolling some numbers. And those numbers were fuck dark-skinned people. And what I found out through fuck everything I believe, I'm going to research righteously, get my own culture from European American Anglo-Saxon writings. All civilization started in Sector 3, and all that shit branched out after Sector 3. All mitochondrial DNA comes from Sector 3. Anybody who can clearly understand what I'm saying right now, the Jewish community is correct. Jesus never existed, and yet Moses said blah, blah, blah. The Muslims are correct. Mohammed and Allah both said something, something, something. The cartel is correct. They believe something and go carry it out. Listen to what I'm telling y'all. Once we truly realize we're all correct and learn how we can all survive from it. Y'all think all this division is so sweet. Have you not watched The Walking Dead? At any moment, y'all love Darwinism, fingers snap. Like Thanos, a bunch of metaphors. So if we all come together like ants, not like ants and bees, I mean, I don't know. The point of this video is, sometimes when I think about what God's doing, I be thinking about me making a game or a faction, and everybody in my guild trying to kill each other. I'm just trying to raid Karzan and the Lich King, and we all want each other dead. So, before we get to the first mobs, the tank has shield bashed the priest. The motherfucking undead warlock has casted 15 dots on a dwarf hunter, cause fuck your faction, you alliance son bitch. I didn't even know the Russians and the Chinese were the American allies. If you're American, you know what I'm talking about, right? Israel has all the power, but what have white supremacists been doing to the Jews since I've been born? What's real or not? Or we could say, okay, we're tired of this. Human colors, cool. I got a crayon box too. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? But, so y'all know, man, I do book reports in English class back in high school, and I read the Bible, man, and I got to a couple scriptures and I threw it, and I picked it back up. It was like, oh, emotional. Look at the red pill laughing at you because you're an emotional man. Like, I guess, man, I kept reading it and I got through a lot of it. I wasn't even finna go through all the Kings, man. Fuck all that shit. Listen, I'll tell y'all what. Maybe y'all are the goats. Y'all can read it all, but I'm just telling y'all, I've had enough, dude. And I hope we can all learn to love each other. Because maybe there is a God, but I don't know what it thinks. It is thinks. I was just saying, from what I think, a little happier coexisting. We're all right. When we went from the aspect of we were all wrong, a bunch of people died. Let's try we're all right, and we'll make a big parade, and the gays and the women can come, and we'll and Grinder can crash Republicans.